Hello and welcome, RC Shim in the hangar. Today we will talk about the Oukitel C38 budget-friendly smartphone. Oukitel asked me if I want to review. Took a look and said, okay, I have a pretty old Samsung Galaxy S10, terrible battery. Let's give one of the newer phones a chance and see how it works as a daily driver. And you will find out in a second how this went. The usual disclaimer in reviews: Oukitel sent this as a review sample, so I get to keep it. They cannot influence the content of my video. I'm a trustworthy and honest review channel. You will see this in a second. If you consider to buy one of these, however, please consider to use my affiliate link, so this helps my channel grow. As a creator, the phone is an important tool because you don't always have a good camera with you, and the phone is the camera that you always have in your pocket, so it ought to be a good camera. And for the last like 5-6 years I had the Galaxy S10, which has an incredible camera. If you're a casual phone user, you might not have as much demand on the camera quality as I have. So just keep that in mind. If I have too many negative points about the camera quality and performance. It's not the most snappy performance, of course, but you cannot expect this from a mobile phone in this price range. It's $160, and that's something that I almost cannot believe. It feels, yeah, of course it's plastic. It comes in this white or green colors, and you also get clear TPU case, which is nice, which I would highly recommend using. It's only a 2K display, but it's more than enough for most use cases. Here are the specs now. Here's the phone. It's a 6.6 inches display, 8.8 millimeters thin. It's not 8.8 millimeters thin, it's rather 9.3 millimeters. 11.4 on the camera bulge. It's 75 millimeters wide. It's 165 millimeters tall. It's 195 grams light. Thought they listed it 220, it's not. My Galaxy S10 is 155, and this competition phone here is 220 grams. So it's not heavy, that's a plus. It's 6 gigs of RAM, it has 256 gigabytes of internal storage, which is nice, and you can insert an SD card, which most of the normal newer phones don't have. So, or if you don't use the storage card slot, you can have a second SIM card in it, so dual SIM operation. The battery, it's a 5150 milliamp battery, and it's plenty of battery life. So that's one of the big surprises. Maybe it's also because the CPU is quite efficient but not powerful. It lasts forever. I could easily run this for 3 days without recharging. And for measuring the battery life, I can give you this tip of Accu battery. It's free. I upgraded it with €3 to the Pro version, and it gives you a lot of statistics. So that's the beauty of Android. You get a lot of readings. On iOS you don't get any readings about your battery. So it thinks that my battery is about 92% of its lifespan. Most of the newer smartphones have the option to limit the charging at 80%. Like on electric cars, it's not clever to charge them to 100%. This will cause a lot of wear on the battery. And this app also tells you the amount of wear. So one full charge is 1 cycle, and they tell you like you can have 500 or 1000 battery cycles, so full to empty, and then the battery is flat. So by only charging to 80%, you just waste a third of a battery cycle. So keep that in mind as a little tip. It has a Mediatek MT8788 octacore CPU in it. Apparently the predecessor phone had a stronger CPU. It features Android 13, a bit of a downside. For example, on such a large screen I would prefer to have 5 icons in a row. After going through the specs now, I can tell you the pros and cons that I found while testing it. It's a large display, resolution is okay. The fingerprint reader is really working good. Power button on the side. It has good battery life, like 3 or 3.5 days. It comes with a TPU cover, yes. Oh, damn it, that's it with the pros. Now we come to the longer list of cons. The cam quality is probably not what I was looking for. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can make half decent pics and they are quite high res. They have like 50 or 60 megapixels, but they are lying, kind of. Here our adorable desktop dog. This is Oki. This is Samsung Galaxy S10. One thing, of course, if you go 100%, this is way larger than the Samsung, because yeah, this is lower megapixels, but you see those megapixels, that's what I meant, they are faked, upscaled. I wouldn't go all into 100%, but rather to like, yeah, 35%. You see the fine details here, these fine hairs. It falls apart here, but it is allowed to fall apart considering it's such a cheap phone. But yeah, and also the backlight compensation or HDR is non-existent here. So that's what you have to expect. You have different lenses, a main camera, a macro lens, and a depth information cam. This is a macro, it's only 1600 by 1200, so it's very low res, and it doesn't look better than the normal mode. Here, of course, we cannot zoom it to 100%, because then it looks ugly again, but yeah. But if I jump to the Samsung, going close to the pen, here once again the low res macro, it is kind of sharp, it's a leaf, that's the normal cam, and that's once again the Galaxy. The final comparison is the selfie shot here with Oki and Samsung. So the selfie cam of the Samsung is also not really the best or sharp, but once again it wins in the background HDR department. Maybe there's more details in the eyes here. One pic though that really looked kind of nice is this portrait. It uses the depth information camera to blur out the background, which works surprisingly well here. And that's one of the better examples, as you see, in bright sunlight, so best conditions. 1/400th of a second shutter, 100 ISO. So that's the better example of good pics you can get with it. Cam quality to take pictures, it works, but it's not the best. And filming is only 1080p, which is a no-go for me. It doesn't have NFC, so if you want to use Google Wallet and have your ATM card, your cash card stored in it to make payments in the grocery store, you cannot. That's one thing I learned, and it's a convenience feature that I miss. It's only on Pro phones, apparently. The auto brightness sensor doesn't work well, so you end up using the manual brightness, and the brightness of the phone is not high enough. The audio quality is not the best. This, for example, is another higher priced phone competition. It's okay, it's decent, but it's not what you expect nowadays. Performance is not always the greatest. I will give you the Geekbench results here. Performance is not the best. And if you boot this phone up, it takes 1 minute. The USB transfer speeds, if you use an USB-C, USB 3 cable to your computer, are not the fastest, are not the best. Downloading like with 40 megabytes per second is okay, but uploading from the phone to your computer is only like 5 to 10 megabytes per second. It's kind of slow. The Wi-Fi, by speed testing this, I just copied something else off my NAS in the local LAN. I only get to around 250 megabits per second, while on the old Galaxy S10 I came to around 200, so that was even slower. But on a newer phone I get to 400, 450 megabits of transfer rate. That's if you have a really fast Wi-Fi at home for your internet and have a fast internet, then this can be the bottleneck. And while testing the file copy from NAS to phone, I wanted to use the USB-C to a laptop docking station and to use the LAN cable there, which should in theory give you almost 1 gigabit of speed. On another phone it does it. Here it didn't work, so you cannot use Ethernet cable on a docking station here. So as I said, you saw a long list of cons here, but that's because I'm a pro user. If you're a moderate to normal phone user and if you really have a tight budget, this still might be a valid option for you. Just go through my list of pros and cons and see if you like it. So whilst using this, I loved the new form factor, the larger phone, the big screen, maybe a new camera. Couldn't go back to my Galaxy S10. So I quickly realized I need a new smartphone, but I don't want to spend a fortune in it. Like flagship phones are $1,000 or $1,500, and I'm not willing to pay this much for a phone that I could drop and kill. If you want to find out what my new budget flagship phone that I now daily use is, it's not this, sorry, obviously it's not this. It's not too hard to guess if you are on the market for something like this as well. You have to subscribe and come back like next week to see the review of this one and find out. Been a nice experience. If you liked me reviewing smartphones, which is new on my channel, tell me what I did wrong by reviewing those. I review tech from an objective perspective. In best case scenario, I can measure something and share my measurements with you, so I'm a measurement guy. And things like, yeah, how nice does it look, are only second thought for me. It looks more expensive than it is. From this perspective, it could be a win for you. Okay, so thanks a lot for watching my review. Go ahead and check this one out on their page. Please consider to use my affiliate link, so this gives me a bit of commission back, which helps grow this channel. Thanks a lot for this. See you next time. Bye for now.